In 1977, Hollywood had already decided the fate of a strange little science fiction film. Studios believed audiences were tired of space stories. Cinema owners expected empty seats. Even the people funding the movie thought it would quietly disappear after a short theatrical run. The film was called Star Wars, and just days before its release, almost no one believed it would matter. With less than 2 weeks left before the premiere, the studio faced a serious problem. People didn't know what this movie was, and worse, they didn't care. There were no viral trailers, no social media campaigns, no global fanbase waiting. All that stood between success and failure was a single image that had to convince the public to buy a ticket without knowing the story, the characters, or the future legacy. That responsibility fell on Tom Jung, a commercial illustrator, not a celebrity artist. He wasn't given a finished film to study. He didn't see the final costumes or special effects. He received only a rough idea of the story and a simple instruction: create an image powerful enough to stop people in their tracks. What he produced was not a scene from the movie, but a feeling, a visual promise of heroism, danger, and destiny. Using acrylic paint and airbrush techniques, Jung created an image that felt larger than life. A young hero stood facing the unknown. Light clashed with darkness. Hope fought against fear. It wasn't accurate in every detail, but accuracy wasn't the point. Emotion was. When the image appeared in newspapers on May 13, 1977, people noticed. They paused. They looked twice. And without fully understanding why, they became curious. When Star Wars finally reached theaters, crowds showed up in numbers no one expected. Lines stretched around buildings. Word of mouth exploded. What was supposed to be a risky experiment turned into a cultural earthquake. Sequels followed. A franchise was born. Billions of dollars would eventually be generated. Yet the original painting that helped ignite it all quietly faded into the background, unnoticed and forgotten by the public. For decades, the artwork hung privately in the office of producer Gary Kurtz. It wasn't treated like a treasure. It wasn't locked in a vault or displayed in a museum. It was simply there, a silent witness to history. As the Star Wars universe expanded into toys, games, and global fandom, the image that introduced the saga to the world remained unseen. Then, decades later, everything changed. The painting was placed into auction. Experts expected interest, but not obsession. The bidding began calmly, then quickly turned intense. Collectors understood something deeper than paint and canvas was at stake. This was not memorabilia. This was the first door ever opened into the Star Wars universe. The final price shocked the world. At $3.875 million, the painting shattered records, becoming the most expensive piece of Star Wars memorabilia ever sold and the highest-priced movie poster artwork in history. In that moment, the market made something clear. People don't just pay for objects. They pay for moments that changed everything. This painting mattered because it came before the legend, before the fan theories, before the empire of merchandise. It represented belief at a time when belief was rare. It sold a dream before anyone knew that dream would come true. The story behind this sale isn't really about Star Wars. It's about impact. It's about how presentation can shape destiny. A single image, created under pressure and uncertainty, didn't just advertise a movie, it introduced a universe. And decades later, the world finally